Netflix was founded back in 1997 and since then has become the largest streaming TV service in the world. It's also the company that is responsible for some of the worst sci-fi movies ever produced. In 2024 alone, Netflix is responsible for Spaceman and Rebel Moon Scargiver. And now we have Atlas.
This movie's gonna suck.
Welcome back to Poprageous, everyone. Atlas is one of the most pretentious movies ever made. I mean, if you like watching Jennifer Lopez cry and argue with an AI computer robot for 2 hours, you're going to love this movie. She probably read the script and realized that she's going to have 98% of the face time in this lead role. Now that's what I call pretentious, because most of the story and conflict in this movie is all about her character, Atlas Shepard.
What do I do?
Stop it!
There are some major problems with this sci-fi action drama, which is set in the Andromeda Galaxy. You heard that right. That's 2.5 million light years away. You do know that there's 200 billion stars in the Milky Way galaxy that you could have chose from? The movie starts us off in 2043 with young Atlas Shepard, whose mother has created the AI humanoid Harlon, played by Simu Liu. He's the first AI humanoid that gains the ability to think freely, and it also becomes the first AI terrorist, killing over 3 billion people. The movie never lets us forget how brilliant Atlas Shepard's mother was and spends even more time telling us about what a genius Atlas Shepard is throughout the entire movie. I mean, she is just a genius.
If you really want to try to capture Harlon, you need me on that mission.
Yeah, baby! Yeah.
In scene after scene, we're never allowed to forget that she's simply brilliant and amazing at almost everything. Actually, screw the almost, just make that everything. If the only thing a movie can do to demonstrate the importance of its protagonist is by having to tell us over and over what a genius she is, then the last thing we're going to believe is that she actually is one. Jennifer Lopez is not the kind of actress that comes close to being believable in the role of a genius. Sorry, Jennifer, just being honest. Charlize Theron should have been cast for this movie, or maybe even Scarlett Johansson or Rebecca Ferguson or Emily Blunt. Lopez adds nothing believable to this character, and the very idea of Jennifer Lopez as a sci-fi action star is laughable. So Atlas Shepard and a crew of military men and women are going to destroy Harlon and his AI robots who have fled to a planet in the Andromeda Galaxy. So let me get this straight. In less than 2 decades, the writers Leo Sardarian and Aron Coleite suggest that the human species will develop the technology to leap across the universe in a matter of seconds. I mean, is Netflix working on some secret projects that we don't know about?
Did you say you was going to blow up the Earth?
50 years ago in 1974, we were going to the moon. And now, 50 years later, we haven't even been back there yet. If the human species was able to harness the power of traveling 2.5 million light years in a matter of seconds, the peripheral technology that would be developed would most likely include some serious kick-ass military power that could easily wipe out Harlon and his band of AI terrorists into oblivion.
Logical.
I'll give the writers credit for trying to create an internal and external conflict for her, which is what you want to do for your protagonist. Atlas Shepard has an internal conflict where she struggles to merge her mind with an AI computer and is tormented by the idea of having to do so if she's going to have a chance at defeating Harlon. But what we get is an endless barrage of mostly irritating dialogue that is overacted and intermixed with some subpar action scenes.
What are you then?
I am a computer program named Smith.
No one likes a smartass Smith.
She's able to accomplish what highly trained military men and women fail at.
Go on.
The story also fails to convince us of any real stakes or create anything close to a likable character. We could care less about what happens to Jennifer Lopez and Atlas Shepard. It's like all of the stories about Jennifer Lopez being an unlikable person in real life manifest themselves into this character.
My turn.
She overacts almost every scene as she tries to portray a person who is supposed to have an analytical mind that is second to no one. There is nothing she says or does that makes her sympathetic to the audience or believable as the brilliant mind that she's supposed to be. Even the death of her mother at the hands of Harlon fails to impart any feeling that we should actually care for this person and what she's going through. The subject matter in this movie is actually quite compelling. The idea of merging your mind with an AI entity is one that society and individuals may have to make a decision about one day. It's about coming to terms with how humanity will ultimately bond with AI intelligence, and the moral question, is AI intelligence considered to be life?
I am perfect. I am nomad.
Believe me when I say that the hardest thing about writing a screenplay is creating a character that is likable and believable. You have to do it through the character's actions and allow the dialogue to give the audience subtle impressions of who the character is. Jennifer Lopez cries whenever anything doesn't go her way and feels like a pathetic way to try and amplify the tension. Watching the protagonist cry when they face adversity dismantles any credibility the character has earned as a believable hero. I will say that some of the CGI was actually quite good, but it's not enough to forgive this movie for some scenes that literally leave you shaking your head. Right before the final fight scene, Atlas and Smith just happen to find extra robotic arms and weaponry lying around, and they're able to somehow retrofit 2 new fully functional robotic arms and new weapons in a matter of seconds. Literally seconds.
That's convenient.
It's the kind of story plot point that is completely unforgivable. There are also numerous incidents of the script completely breaking and disregarding the laws of physics. For one, back on Earth, they're able to get real-time scans of planet GR59 in the Andromeda Galaxy, which should take a minimum of 2.5 million years. How are they getting real-time scans across these vast distances? It's literally impossible. There's also the plot armor on Smith, Atlas's robotic ranger. It's simply unreal. It never sustains even the slightest amount of damage despite every other robotic ranger unit exploding and being completely destroyed. Then, ICN reinforcements arrive to save Atlas as they travel from Earth to the Andromeda Galaxy again in a matter of seconds. Well, why did they just send one attack cruiser in the first place? Why not send some drones to spy and map out the planet first if they can go to the Andromeda Galaxy as easy as going through a McDonald's drive-thru? Why not send an entire army to wipe out Harlon and his AI soldiers? There is an utter lack of logic in this movie, no basic reasoning as to how humans are able to travel 2.5 million light years instantaneously, less than 20 years from now. The movie offers no explanation as to how they break these laws of physics, and it's simply unforgivable. Netflix is becoming the place where terrible sci-fi scripts and story ideas go to find new life. Instead of dying off or going through much-needed rewrites, Netflix greenlights them and puts them on air with questionable casting, story, and production choices. Atlas is just another example of how Hollywood fails to create good, lasting, dynamic female heroes. The writers, directors, and producers believe that merely telling the audience how amazing their female protagonist is good enough rather than spending the time to create female heroes that are worthy of the audience's admiration. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm giving Atlas a score of 5.0. The only thing that keeps this movie from being a 3 or a 4 are some of the production elements that are actually pretty good. Based on the screenplay, acting, and story, this movie would be an easy 3. I guess the difference between a 3 and a 5 in a Jennifer Lopez movie is a budget of about $100 million. That's pretty sad. Atlas is simply a terrible movie. And that's all I have to say about Atlas, and I will see you in our next video. Cheers.